Ever feel like you're in that catch-22? Wanting to grow, level up in life, but also wanting to be an amazing partner. Like, can you really have both?
It's a question a lot of people grapple with, right?
Totally. And this whole idea of supporting each other's growth, it's more than just staying together. It's about thriving together, which is what this article, 5 Tips for Supporting Each Other's Personal Growth, dives right into.
Yeah, it's a juicy one. And it reminds us that relationships aren't about holding each other back, but rather, how can we actually propel each other forward?
Like, how cool would it be if your relationship was like this secret weapon for personal growth? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And the article starts with a really important point, encouraging each other's goals.
Which sounds obvious, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's more to it than just saying, good for you, babe.
100%. It's about showing genuine interest, being actively engaged in your partner's aspirations.
So not just being a cheerleader on the sidelines, but really understanding the game plan.
Exactly. It's about asking questions, understanding the why behind their goals. Studies have actually shown that when partners feel truly heard and understood in terms of their aspirations, it strengthens the entire relationship.
Okay, that makes sense. So instead of just a, that's nice, honey, it's more like, tell me more about that. What excites you most about this goal?
Yes. Or even practical things like, what's one small step you can take this week towards that? It shows you're not just passively listening, you're actively engaged in their journey.
It's like offering them a metaphorical power-up in a video game. Okay, so encouraging goals, check. But what about when someone actually levels up? That takes us to the next tip, celebrating achievements.
Oh, this is huge. We all crave that acknowledgement, right? And it goes a long way in relationships.
I feel like this is where a lot of couples drop the ball, though. Like life gets busy, you get caught up in your own thing.
For sure. But the research is clear on this. The Gottman Institute. They're like the relationship gurus, right?
Right.
They found that couples who regularly celebrate each other's wins, big or small, are much more likely to stay together long term.
Okay, so how do we actually make celebration a more conscious practice? What does that look like day to day?
I think it's the little things, like a handwritten note expressing how proud you are, or maybe cooking their favorite meal after a big win.
Or even just putting your phone down and actually listening, being present when they share their good news.
Exactly. It's about creating those positive memories together.
It's like you're making deposits in the relationship bank. Okay, so we've got encouraging goals, celebrating wins. But what about when growth leads to change? And I don't just mean like changing your
All
hairstyle.
right, this is where things can get a little more challenging.
Yeah, because as we grow, we change, and sometimes that can feel unsettling for the people around us.
Absolutely. Our interests might shift, our priorities, maybe even our values. And that can create friction if you're not on the same page.
Which brings us to that crucial point the article makes, being patient with change. Because you can't have growth without change, right?
100%. And this is where communication becomes absolutely paramount. It's about constantly checking in with each other, making sure you're still on the same page as you both evolve.
Because what you need for a relationship at 25 might be totally different at 35, right?
Exactly. And it's not about resisting that change, but rather adapting to it together.
So how do you do that? How do you adapt together?
It goes back to communication, talking about your fears, your insecurities, your hopes for the future, and being open to hearing your partner's perspective as well.
It's like you're constantly recalibrating the relationship GPS.
I like that. And speaking of exploring new territory, that's actually the next tip, sharing growth experiences.
This one sounds fun. Tell me more about that.
It's about finding ways to grow together as a couple. Maybe you take a cooking class together or learn a new language.
Oh, or finally book that trip to Italy you've always talked
Yeah.
about.
Yes. Those shared experiences not only create amazing memories, but they also give you new ways to connect and learn about each other.
It's like you're building your own little relationship expansion pack. And it all circles back to that foundation of open communication, which the article emphasizes as well.
Absolutely. It's the bedrock of any strong relationship, but it's especially important when you're both trying to grow individually.
Because you need that safe space to talk about your dreams, your fears, your insecurities.
Exactly. And to know that you'll be met with understanding and support, even if your paths look a little different.
So to kind of bring it all together, it's not about holding each other back for the sake of the relationship, but rather figuring out how to grow in a way that strengthens the connection.
Perfectly said. And remember, relationships, just like us, are always evolving. What works today might need to be revisited tomorrow. The key is to stay curious about each other and to never, ever stop communicating.
This whole deep dive has been like eye-opening. But as they say, knowledge without action is kind of pointless.
I agree.
So listeners, here's something to ponder. Imagine fast-forwarding 5 years. Looking back, what's one small act of growth-focused support you wish you'd started today? Think about it.